Today on HandyDadTV, I'm going to do my maintenance process on my tankless water heater. This happens to be a Rinnai, but this applies to every tankless water heater. If you've got a tank water heater that holds water, it's a completely different process to flush it out every year. But for tankless, this is an important thing that you should do. I'm going to do it annually. So I'm going to explain how to do it and what I used coming up. Welcome to HandyDadTV. I'm Chris Hyder, your virtual dad in the cloud. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I do all kinds of DIY videos, whether it be home maintenance projects or even building sheds and things like that. So be sure to subscribe. And if you get to the end of this video, be sure to click like because it really helps the YouTube algorithm. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, this is a Rinnai RUC90, but like I said, it does not matter what kind of tankless water heater you have. This applies to all of them, whether it's Rinnai or something else. You should have these kinds of valves underneath your water heater. And of course, it's probably going to be gas, like mine is gas. And I also have a drain down in the floor there. You can see that too. That's where my condensate goes, as well as any of the overflow, the pressure relief valves. They all drain into there, which goes down through my laundry room. So I'm not going to have to open this at all. All I'm going to do is work basically underneath it right here. What we're going to be doing is actually a chemical process, but we're going to be using a physical pump to run the fluid through the water heater. And what I'm using is distilled white vinegar. This, I just got 4 gallons from Sam's Club, and I'm following the instructions from the manual for my Rinnai unit. Yours may vary, so please check, make sure you get the manual for yours and see what the process is there, what they recommend using. But mine said 4 gallons of vinegar and run it through straight, not diluted. And they also said it should be run through for an hour, which again, may vary as well. Now you also need to have a 5-gallon bucket for this process. You need to have 2 ordinary washer hoses. I got the inexpensive, least expensive that I could find. And you also need some kind of a utility pump. If you don't have one, by the way, a pool cover pump or something like that might work for this as well. But I picked one of these up on Amazon. This is a Superior 1/5 horsepower. And I think the initial investment between these two things cost me about $75, and these are reusable. I can use them every year. I think I spent about $12 in vinegar, and I already had the bucket. To get started, the first thing I'm going to do is unplug the unit so that it doesn't go on accidentally, and I'm also going to turn off the gas valve. Now what we have here is a fancy fitting. The red is the hot side, the blue is the cold side. And what this basically is it's a shutoff valve, so this shuts the water off to the house. And I don't know that they've ever been shut off, so. All right, I'm going to use a little leverage here, but this is what could cause things to break. There we go. It's just stuck. And let's try the same thing with the cold. That one wasn't as bad. Okay, so those are the water shutoffs. And then we have here, these are the bleeders that are going to connect to the hoses going to the pump. And they unscrew, they have these caps on them. And the hose is going to connect there. And they also have a shutoff here, which you can see is in line right now. Or I should say it's crossed like this. I'm going to turn that so that it's like this, and that's what opens that up. All right, this is the cold side. And I'm going to put a washer in the end, and I'm going to connect it to the cold. And hand tight is usually fine. Now the other end of the cold water is going to get connected to the pump. Now your pump should have a threaded connection on it. You can see this is an adapter here. So you have to have that adapter so that you can connect a garden hose or something like that to the pump. And that was loose, so it's a good thing I checked. And that needs another washer over here. And then I'm going to connect that here. All right, that goes down in the bucket. All right, next I connect the hot side. And this one is going to be where the water comes out of, so this one is just going to hang down in the bucket. All right, next step is to pour all the vinegar into the bucket. All right, now I'm just going to open up these two little valves. And you can see that the line goes this way. That means the valve is open. All right, now I'm going to plug in the pump and hope for the best. Of course, they put this outlet right underneath the thing. Now I can't tell if that's actually dirt or if that's just from the chemical reaction of the vinegar. The vinegar is acidic, and so that's what is dissolving the scale from inside the water heater. But that's good and totally normal. All right, now I gotta let it go for an hour, and I will be back. All right, it's been an hour. I'm gonna unplug the pump, and let's take a look and see what we have here. In reality, I'd say that's pretty darn clean. So I guess that was just bubbles in the initial bucket. So now I want to dispose of this vinegar, and I don't want to drag it through the house. I've got a drain right here, so I'm just going to take this blue line off of that pump, and I'm going to put it right down there and drain it down. I'm going to close this one and put the cap back on. Okay, that's about as much as I'm going to get there. The next thing I want to do is rinse the inside, all the vinegar out of the inside of the water heater. And I'm going to do that. I still have this hose hooked up, and this is open. I'm just going to open up the cold water. Okay, I wound up having to turn the house water off so the pressure was relieved from here, and that allowed me to open that up. And now I'm going to open this again. And that is rinsing all the vinegar out of the water heater. Don't want that hose to come out of there. That'd make a mess. Now the last thing to do is to remove the sediment filter. Now I did that before I turned this water back on, but I didn't film it, unfortunately. So anyway, it's just kind of hand tight. A little bit of pliers or something like that might help you get it out. But it's just a simple screen, and you just, if there's any sediment in it, you clean it out. All right, on. And I've got hot water. Yep, it's running, and the pipe is hot. All good.
If you need shade on your deck or patio this summer, check out Toya Grid Pergola Kits. You source the lumber locally and can assemble this modular system in as little as 30 minutes. Check the video description for links to videos and more information about Toya Grid.